Really excited to be here talking you through this week's learning. We hope you've had a brilliant half term and that you've managed to enjoy some of that wonderful sunshine we've been lucky enough to have. I wanted to start this week by talking about reading. Hopefully you have seen the winner of our Beatrix Has Got Talent competition. But I also wanted to talk about Bug Club and Oxford Owl. Now we are aware there have been some issues with logging into Bug Club. We've been in contact with them and those issues should now be resolved. So please don't be put off, get on Bug Club and Oxford Owl for reading. Now, my class, we have the most reads on Bug Club this week. Fantastic, well done, let's keep it up. Fireflies, we know you have also been winning the competition. But I really this week wanted to give a big shout out to Butterfly class. You have been doing amazingly. I was having a look and when we first started recording how many reads a week we had, your class were below 10. This week, you are only 3 reads behind the winners. I am sure, Butterfly class, you can win this next week. Fireflies and Dragonflies, we want to give them competition, but Butterflies, I am confident you are going to get there. You've done brilliantly so far and I'm really proud of all of you children. Keep going, let's see who wins next week's most reads. So I'm going to start by talking you through this week's English learning. Now we have really enjoyed doing the Beatrix Potter stories, but we thought it's time to move on to a new unit. So this new unit is a poetry unit called The Sound Collector, and the poem is by a poet called Roger McGough. Now we have saved a copy of the poem on the Google Drive for you, or alternatively you can see here there's a link that you can follow and you can hear the poem being performed, and that might help you with a later part of your task this week. Now before you read the poem, there are some words that we'd like you to think about. The words are marmalade, window pane, drain, lock and bathtub. And we'd like you to think about how many syllables are in each of those words. And if you need a reminder of what syllables are, we have put a video clip here for you. But if I take the first word, marmalade, and I thought about syllables, it's almost like the beats in a word. So I'm going to say it a little bit slower, marmalade. So I'm thinking about the beats, marmalade. So I've got those 3 beats there. So there are 3 syllables. So you might want to use your hands and practice clapping out different words. It might be on your walk this week. You might want to give your grown-up different words and they have to clap it out and see how many syllables there are. You could, after you've read the poem, talk about what you liked and didn't like in the poem. So I know we saw lots of brilliant sentences last week about your likes and dislikes of the different Beatrix Potter stories. Why not have a chat with your grown-ups, brothers and sisters, about what you like and you don't like about the poem. Now, I think the task this week is probably one of my favourites because for me, poetry really comes to life in how it's performed, how it's read, how it's changed. So we've given you the start of a chunk of the poem and we want you to think about how would you perform this? How would you read it aloud? Would you say any of it really loudly? But then, would you say any of it any quieter? So think about the different ways you could change your voice. We could bring in some of our computing learning. A couple of weeks ago you looked at adding sound effects to Peter Rabbit. Would you add any sound effects to what we've got here? How would you say the ticking of the clock? And what does the whistling of the kettle mean? We would love to receive some video clips of you performing these. It could be you could also FaceTime or Zoom, use any device you want to contact some other family members or friends to perform your section of poetry and maybe set them a challenge to do the next verse of the poem. So we hope you have fun with the English this week. This week's maths is going to be using the NCETM again before next week we will move back to the White Rose. Now, I know I've been in school this last week and we have been really enjoying playing shops. We've created lots of different labels and we've paid for things in different ways. So we hope you've had just as much fun at home as we've had in school playing shops. So there are some links again to the videos. And again, for you on there, we have noted which are the most relevant parts for you to watch. And then this week, we're going to work more on applying now what you know about those coins, how we can use those coins to pay for different things, and different ways that we can represent those. You will see some tens frames representations in session 3, and that will help you think about your counting as you're going through. And then on Friday, this is the biggest change. So for session 5, we're going to now start including sort of a mental maths focus. because as things are changing in school, we're going to start to be doing some mental maths in school, so we thought you'd like to do some at home. So your maths fluency activities this week are all here for you. You don't have to save them until session 5, pick and choose when you want to do them, just to try and keep those math skills sharp, counting in 2s, 5s, 10s, and I know counting in backwards is something we found quite tricky this year, trying to go across those 10s boundaries. So when we get to counting back, so I'm at 41, 40, knowing what that next number is to carry on counting backwards. So it's really important to try and keep those mental math skills sharp. Your resources for this week's maths are saved. Again, there is different challenge for you. So you can see those are labelled there, session 1, and this one is the easier version because it's called 1 star, 2 star and 3 star. So they are saved there for you. We have also saved an extra game here of a coin detective, which will give you a bit of colouring. So if I was to look, for example, at the 10p here, I can see I have to colour all the 10p's in red. Now it is a bit trickier because obviously when you've been working with coins at home, you can see they're bronze and silver. Whereas this time the colours aren't here and you're going to be colouring them. So I hope you have fun colouring these in. I know we're going to be doing this in school next week as well. Now looking in the phonics part of the Google Drive, you can see there are 2 documents this week. First of all, there are just some alien words if you'd like to practice reading some of those alien words. I know I've received some videos of children in my class really working hard to read some different alien words and real words, and it was wonderful to see, so well done, keep it up. The challenge for this week is looking at one of my favourite sounds, ow, ow, we like to shout. And you can see we've got our little rhyme at the top there. Now, again, we thought we'd do it a little bit differently because we know you've been enjoying those scavenger hunts at home. So there are some sentences or commands today. So the first one you have to read says, what sound? What sound can you hear? So I would have a listen. Now I can actually hear here, and I don't think you'll be able to hear it. Mr. Todd is listening to some cricket downstairs, so I can sort of hear the radio. So in the box over here, I would draw the radio sounds that I can hear, and I might draw a cricket bat to show that's what I can hear. Some of them might be instructions, and you need to draw what you see. You could also label it if you would like to. So that's your phonics for this week, and do look out for the new phonics video on the YouTube channel. The final piece of your home learning this week is your science. Now, it was wonderful to see so many of you out enjoying the sunshine on our nature walk looking at trees and plants a couple of weeks ago. So we thought we'd do something very similar this week, but looking more at animals this time. So this time we'd like you to do some bird watching. So when you go for a walk or you're outside, have a look at choosing one of our bird watching sheets, which I'll show you in a moment. And you will be able to record which birds you see. And we want you to start thinking about, well, do you notice some birds are in one area more? So for example, do you see many birds when you're in a place that's got lots of houses around it? Or do you see different types of birds when you're more in a woodland area or somewhere where there's not as many cars and not as much traffic? We'd like you to record what you've seen using tally marks, or sort of draw 4 and then 1 across, so that then you can carry on practicing counting in 5s. We've also got a challenge for you to use a bar chart to show us the different types of birds that you spot. And we've also saved you this week some opportunities to make bird feeders. So if I start by showing you what one of the checklists could look like. So here you can see I could choose to do this one. So the first bird I'd look for is a robin. And again, if I saw it, I would put a mark in this box here. And then I'd write down where I saw it. And as I said, think about, are you somewhere where there's lots of noise? Is it traffic, people? Where do the birds tend to be? So that is one example of your checklist. And then the bar chart you could do, if I come down here, you can then take your information across. Now, we haven't learnt to do bar charts in school yet this year, so this would be a new challenge for you. If you would like any more advice on doing that, please just email us and we will talk you through that one. And then, as I mentioned, there is the fun challenge on trying to make a bird feeder. So there are a couple of different ways you could make bird feeders using things you've got at home, such as yoghurt pots, toilet roll holders. So have a think about one of these. So if I open this one, you can see it tells you clearly what you will need and then gives you those instructions, and even gives you some top tips on trying to encourage different birds to your garden. So we hope you have fun with your science this week, and we really hope you enjoy all of your learning. We're looking forward to seeing some more of you back in school, but we are also still missing those of you that aren't able to be with us at the moment. We really do enjoy seeing your learning, and we really are missing you, so please do keep sending it in. And in celebration assemblies next week, we'll give you a flavour of some of the things we've done in school too. Have a great week, enjoy the sunshine, keep up the great work, Year 1. Well done.